Once upon a time, in a magical forest far, far away, there lived a wise old owl named Ophelia. Ophelia was known throughout the forest for her wisdom and her soothing voice, which had the power to lull anyone into a deep and restful sleep. One evening, as the moon rose high in the sky and the stars twinkled above, Ophelia decided to take a stroll through the forest. As she walked, she breathed in the sweet scent of the flowers and listened to the rustling of the leaves in the gentle breeze. As she wandered deeper into the forest, she heard a faint sound in the distance. Curious, she followed the sound until she came to a clearing. In the center of the clearing was a small cottage, and inside the cottage, she could hear someone snoring. Ophelia crept inside the cottage and saw a small, furry creature sleeping soundly in a cozy bed. The creature was so peaceful that Ophelia couldn't help but feel relaxed and calm. She decided to sit by the creature's bed and tell her a story. Once upon a time, she began, there was a great dragon who lived in a cave high up in the mountains. The dragon was feared by all who knew of him, for his fiery breath and sharp claws were the stuff of legends. But the dragon was not content with his life of solitude and power. He longed for companionship and love, but he didn't know how to find it. One day, a brave young knight came to the mountains to slay the dragon. The dragon was ready for battle, but the knight did not raise his sword. Instead, he asked the dragon why he was so feared and lonely. The dragon told the knight of his longings for companionship and love, and the knight listened with an open heart. He realized that the dragon was not evil, but simply misunderstood. The knight offered to be the dragon's friend, and the dragon was overjoyed. They spent many days exploring the mountains together, and the dragon no longer felt lonely or feared. And so, the dragon learned that friendship and love can come from the most unexpected places. As Ophelia finished her story, the furry creature stirred and opened her eyes. She looked up at Ophelia with a sleepy smile and thanked her for the story. Then she yawned and closed her eyes, drifting off into a deep and restful sleep. Ophelia smiled and whispered a gentle good night before slipping out of the cottage and back into the forest. She walked through the peaceful forest, listening to the sounds of nature and feeling grateful for the magic of storytelling. As she returned to her own cozy tree, she settled into her nest and closed her eyes. And with the memory of the peaceful forest and the sweet lullaby of her own voice, she fell into a deep and restful sleep, just like the furry creature in the cottage.